So you may recognize this as the KastKing V15 vertical rod rack. So I'm going to show you, this is a section cut, and it creates a cut right through the part so that you can see what's happening in your model and what it looks like. And that's the material that grips the rods when you put the rod into the rod holder itself. This is Scott Thomas with KastKing. You know, a lot of our fans want to know more about how we develop products and some of the tools we use. One of the invaluable tools that we use every day as we're developing products is 3D design software. So I'm going to take you through one of the models that we've created and show you some of the features and how we use it and what the advantage is of using 3D software. Three-dimensional design software allows us to create models, parts, assemblies in the virtual world. So we're able to check part fits, check dimensions, check the strength of a part in certain areas if we want to. We can even input the material information and get the weights of the product or the components as well. So it's a very valuable tool to help us speed up the whole design process. And we're able to check a lot of things before we actually make any prototypes or make any parts and tool it up. So you may recognize this as the KastKing V15 vertical rod rack. And there's a lot of different, like I said, commands that we can use and different things that we can do with this. So I'm going to show you, this is a section cut. So I'm doing, I created a plane, and you can move it along the axis, and it creates a cut right through the part so that you can see what's happening in your model and what it looks like. So if I stop right in here somewhere and then zoom in, you can see this part right here is the rubber overmold that we use, and that's the material that grips the rods when you put the rod into the rod holder itself. So you can see underneath we've got solid plastic molded there, and then we overmold with the TPR material. So it's pretty interesting what you can see and how you can analyze the whole model. As we designed the V15 vertical rod rack, we wanted to make sure that the mounting holes were 16 inches on center, so that when you mounted it, you know, in the wall in your garage or in your house, that the screws would actually hit the studs in your house rather than just going through the drywall. So one of the things you can do with this is I can click on this radius, and then I can go over here and click on this radius, and it tells me that they're 16 inches apart. So that's exactly where we wanted it to be. And just to show you how we can use this software to check things as we're designing products. As we were finishing up the development on the rod rack, one of the things that we wanted to add was the logo. And we wanted to put it right in the center here. So you can see it interfered with the ribs coming across the top here that support the V grooves on top. So we had to cut those back in this area. And then we checked to make sure that structurally it was still going to be okay. So with the 3D design software, you can do what's called a finite element analysis. So we can apply a load up here where the V grooves are, and it'll tell us how much stress is going to be put on these ribs and how much pressure it will take before they actually break. So we checked to make sure that those were good, and we didn't have any problem. The other thing that you can tell that we changed from the this original design is that the overmold, the TPR overmold, goes all the way across now. We found that molding that was a little more difficult than it needed to be. So we changed the design, and the rubber goes all the way across the front of each one of these grooves right now. So that was another change that we made, and we were able to check things in the software itself before we made a prototype. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight into the tools and the process KastKing uses to develop new and innovative products for our fans.